Hey, it's Mahesh here for Beardbrand, and today I'm at Gentlemen and Rogues Club, and Dave's going to get an overhaul. We're looking at Dave's hair. Now, when you came in, Dave, we were talking about the fact that your curls, you want them to lay flatter, don't you? You want to get a slick back.
Well, the difficulty is because my hair's so thick.
Yeah.
That it tends to go outwards rather than lay on my head. Mm-hmm. And that's the bit I don't.
So that's the bit you don't like. And I said to you, being honest, that I just don't like the haircut. I don't like this shape. I don't like this. Just this undercut thing. There's no shape here.
Oh,
it's just.
Yeah, I see it now. I couldn't see what you're saying.
So what you can see, it's all undercut.
Yeah.
It's pretty much one clipper guard, and it just comes in. It's just like that, and that's what I was like. Oh, I really would like to do something else about it. And Michael was like, Michael interjected and was like, embrace the curl, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But is that something you're prepared to do? I mean.
Well, yes, because I love changing things. I don't like things being the same. So, and I'll take advice.
With that comes though
more work.
More work for yourself.
Yeah.
More work.
And it's if you've got that time factor in the morning. And
Yeah. Watching more Beardbrand videos.
I've never been great at doing my hair.
Yeah. So you need to be
But
something
again,
simple then, Mahesh, right? But
it's
shaping it up, getting rid of that.
Well,
Because I think he should just wear it.
most of us aren't great doing their hair until you actually start doing your hair more and more.
Yeah.
And you get confident.
Yeah.
Just seriously, I'm not just because we have the channel. But there's
You
a
own
lot,
a hairdryer?
a lot of.
I do
teaching.
use a hairdryer briefly.
Not that you need one all the time, but yeah.
Would you consider having it just laying forward and curly?
Yeah, I mean, I have had my hair always.
Yeah.
I'm not stuck in a. I've
yeah.
had long hair. I've had blonde hair. I've had all sorts. So
what I would suggest is that maybe we should. I think through one haircut, we're never going to get this to blend in straight off the bat. I don't think, unless we go really, really short with it. So what I would suggest, to retain some of this length, because you've got some really nice curls going on, like Michael was saying, it's really nice curly hair. And as soon as we said that, Carlos was like, "Oh yeah, curly hair. That's let's have a change." So why don't we keep this size short across the ear through here and through the temple, and then allow some of this to grow in, and then we can start to work towards blending it and maybe wear it coming forward and curly.
Okay.
Just so it looks completely different. A real change.
Yeah.
And look, if you don't like it, I'll leave enough length in it that you can just push it back.
Yes. Okay.
So there's the option for you to be able to wear it to one side, to push it back. But let's try and just go with it for a change.
Yeah.
And then because you have this quite heavily tapered through here as well, don't you?
Yes.
So a bit more contoured through there.
Yeah.
So why don't we do that as well, so that we'll keep that in keeping with the sides.
Yeah.
We'll contour this in, keep a little bit of this length through here.
Yeah. I quite like.
You like the point?
To sharpen it a little bit.
Yeah. So we'll make it into a point, keep it clean, and freshen you all up then.
great.
Yeah. So a bit of an overhaul for Dave today.
Yeah. Yep. Sounds good. I'm seeing a lot of family at the weekend I haven't seen for ages, so.
2000.
Let's have an overhaul.
Have a good impression.
Yeah, 2019's a new Dave.
Indeed.
Okay, Dave. So we're going to have a little change up. We're going to move it about a bit.
Yep.
So I've cut your hair before.
You have.
And I did a job.
No, actually, Josh cut it the last couple of times.
Right. You've been in the shop.
The first time.
I cut for a time, and then Josh has cut. But we've basically just gone. You've told us what you want, and we've just gone okay, and just done it.
Yeah.
But today I didn't do that.
No.
Today I went. Oh, I really don't like this haircut.
Today's your lucky day.
Which was very honest of you. Thank you.
Look, I can do whatever you want me to do, but there has to be some sort of honesty between the barber and the customer.
Yeah.
And the honesty.
Well, it's also opening up the opportunities to the customer to say, have you thought about such and such?
Exactly.
Some people go into a barber's for 30 years and have the same haircut.
Quite, and I don't want to be that guy. So let's change it up. So we'll go in. I think with a 1. Is that okay with you? Yeah.
Cool.
So we're going to go in with a 1, And we're going to retain some of this hair on the beard, so I'm just going to come in at an angle straight off, just to make sure that that blends in. And then we're going to go up to the temple. And the idea really is to try and keep a bit of the weight above here, this area here. We're going to try and keep as much of that weight as possible, really, because I'd like eventually to sort of get the hair to blend in, as opposed to it being completely disconnected and it being like an absolute undercut all the way through, so that Dave can wear it coming forwards and backwards. That's the plan, Dave, isn't it?
Yep, sounds like a plan.
Well, it gives you a little bit of choice then.
Yep.
And like Michael was saying, you know, if you've got curls, you should embrace them, really, because people with, it's the old thing, isn't it? People with straight hair would love to have curly hair, and people with curly hair would love to have straight hair.
Again, I think the reason that I resist slightly is because it's so thick. What it tends to do is just go fluffy.
Yeah.
And so it just goes outwards.
Yeah.
And it's too big on my head, if you like.
Yeah. Does it feel like basically feels like you're wearing a hat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuzzy hat.
Yeah. So what that is down to, that's a lot of it. That's down to just like the products that you're going to use. You're going to have to use a little bit of product to wear it coming forward. And I mean, you obviously put a little bit of product in your hair anyway, do you?
I put a little bit of coconut wax in my hair.
Coconut wax.
Which is just something I've used for ages because it stops the frizz.
Yeah.
But it doesn't leave my hair greasy afterwards.
Yeah.
In any way. And it does seem to nourish the hair.
Yeah.
It's a nice product.
So you can still use that product whether the haircut's going forward or backwards.
Yeah.
You know, that's not, you know, the direction of your hair is not going to make any difference, really.
No, it just stops the hairs from all separating.
Yeah.
So that then they don't go into that fluffy state.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just taper out this with a 1.5 and just start to build up a little bit of shape now for you, okay?
Okay.
So 1.5 will just take away that little bit of that line, start to blend it all out.
So just interject again, Mahesh.
Yeah.
Could Dave be also possibly looking at coming more often to have the weight taken out of the hair?
Yeah. Yeah, so
potentially, instead of it being a 5-6 week return, you might be looking at 4 weeks to keep the hairstyle.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go over with a little bit of clipper over comb because I'm trying to just pick up a little bit of this weight and just get that little bit of a blend in there. Now there will be a definition between the sides at the base of the haircut going up, because what I want to do is I want to start to see it growing, it coming out and starting to get heavier through here. So this is going to be like a sort of step one of a couple of haircuts, just building up some shape now, because this is so short through here and it's so short, so high. So I want to start to build up this bit of weight through here and build up this weight through here so that when we wear it coming forward or back, it starts to blend in. But you can see straight away from the front that the temples are shorter through here, so it instantly is starting to create some shape. Although this is really, really short still, you can start to build up the shape in here. So this is a good stepping stone to just creating a future haircut. And this is also like what it's about sort of looking after your customer, is sort of saying, you know, okay, so we've got a little bit of a plan for the haircut. You know, this for you, from your point of view, for you, from a customer's perspective, you're basically thinking, okay, I've got someone here who wants to look after me, and I've got a plan with my barber. From a barber's point of view, from a business point of view, you know, if you like what we're doing and you like where we're going with it, then you're not going to go to anybody else. So we're both happy.
Yeah.
You know, you're happy to spend your money in here. I'm happy to take your money. and I'm happy to focus on the journey.
We all do what we do to earn a living.
Well, this is it.
And
Investing in yourself.
yeah,
That's why we do these videos, is that so that guys can recognize that, you know, it's not a feminine attribute to look good. You know, people, some guys feel that you have to be feminine
To use a hairdryer.
to give a shit about the way you look.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's a really good saying that, you know, what doesn't serve you, you should let go. And if it's not serving you, then you should just leave it behind. In regards to attitude or people or everything, all those things. If your attitude towards yourself is not serving you and you don't feel good about yourself, then you need to change your attitude towards the way that you look at yourself. And you can sometimes that will come from being around other people, but sometimes that's about, you know, you sitting with yourself and actually thinking, well, do I want to be this guy? Do I want to be that guy? So I'm just going to go around with the detailers just to mark out where I'm going to be going with the rest of the haircut. I don't want to come up too high here. I want to start keeping this softer through this area. And you can see there's a slight weight line through there. I'm going to just take that out in a minute, but for now I'm just marking out where I want to be with the haircut. Just going to go around behind the ears, just keeping everything tidy and clean. So I'm going to take this little section away here. Also, just for Dave's benefit, but so Dave can start to see in the mirror, so the customer can start to see where you're going with a haircut as well. It's really important that while you're cutting the hair, you're really mindful of what the customer's looking at.
yeah. Well, and also having a bit of communication. If you get to a point where actually you don't think it's going the right way, rather than wait until the haircut's finished and then go, oh, wasn't quite what I was hoping.
Yeah. So I'm just going to dry this off a little bit while I, just so I can get rid of the little bits of hair that are stuck to your head. So I'm going to go back over with a 0.5. Sorry, I'm going to go back over with a 1.5, and I'm going to come in straight on and just flicking up. So we're just going to go in and just with texturizing shears, just softening up this area just above the weight line. Because as this grows out, we want to be able to see sort of a little bit of definition of weight, which is obviously weight equals shape. So you want to obviously keep a little bit, you want to keep as much of the length as possible so you can wear it going forwards and backwards, don't you really, Dave?
Yes. I mean, I take advice. I don't have to wear it backwards. I mean, I can wear it forwards and sideways. That gives us a bit more flexibility on the length.
Yeah. So let's have a look. Let's have a proper look, see how long it actually is when we come forward with it. So let's just damp it down. Yeah, so it's pretty long. It's a pretty long haircut. So what we need to be careful of is, when you've got the length in here, is making sure it doesn't look like a toupee. So we're not sort of making it look like a hairpiece.
Yeah.
Do you know, this is the thing, and this is what
You actually make a proper hair look like a toupee.
You can, yeah.
Because you can spot a toupee straight away.
You can, yeah, you can.
And I guess wherever there's disconnect, it looks more like
That's right, and that's what a lot of barbers and hairdressers and stylists don't like about disconnect, is that unless it looks very, very obvious, which yours didn't, it sort of looked a little bit like it was an undercut, but it wasn't an undercut. So what you were having there was, you could sort of see that there was a little bit of hair. So what you don't want to do is, you don't want it to start to look like Oh, is that guy got a hairpiece on, or
Yeah.
is he? So it's quite high. If we come around here, Carlos, you can see that the haircut's been cut really high on the crown here. So ordinarily, you know, I would keep as much of this crown as possible. So I'm going to try and blend this in here.
Again, the challenge I have with my crown is that the hair does stick up.
Yeah, so this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at where do I want it to sit, and what is the best place for it to lay down. So you can see that lays better like that. So which would mean that I want to cut this coming back here and this bit coming forward. So if I was trying to come forward from here, all this would just stand up. So I'm just allowing the crown just to lay naturally, and then we're going to come forward from there. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to look for my center section through the center. I'm going to comb these sides down. And really what I'm doing is just marking out where I'm going to start my haircut. What's going to give me my length. So I need to make sure that I'm not going to go too short on the crown. So the actual length of the crown as it isn't too bad. But what I want to do is I want to start creating this shape coming up and out. So as we work forward, we start to create a bit of an angle. And instantly that gives me a little bit of texture, because then I've created layers going through. So I'm going to just disconnect the crown area and then just bring in the sides. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a little section of my previous piece. So I've got a guide to work to. When we've done this side, we'll go across. We'll check that off and see how much we need to take off. Because your hair naturally wants to come over this way, doesn't it? You can see that, I can see through here, like your hairline naturally comes up and over that way. And even when I'm pushing it forward, it wants to come over that way. So I'm not going to cut it specifically to do that, but I am going to cut your hair with that in mind, that it does that, okay? Okay, so that's just taking some of the weight out of the top and starting just to create a little bit of shape through there. So through the crown area, what I want to do is, you can see that I've got this sort of underhang here, and that's what we want to try and start to get rid of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to angle my fingers out so that the shorter section is underneath, and then I just taking a little bit of that weight off the top. And just so it starts to blend in a bit better. Being really mindful that it's his curly hair, so it will spring up if I'm not careful. So I'm not putting too much tension in the hair. When I pull it out, if I was pulling it out and it was straight hair, I would pull it out with lots and lots of tension. But because it's curly hair, if I pull loads of tension, I cut it, it will just spring up, and I'll cut off a lot more than I really anticipate. We're trying to just get that little bit of a blend in there, and already we can see that there is some shape coming on. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to move from scissors, and I'm going to move to my razor just to take away a little bit of the weight. So we're going to use this is a cutthroat razor with a guard on it. So it means that I'm not going to take out as much, I'm not going to take away as much hair as I normally would with just a straight razor. Also, this is great to use because if you do accidentally rub it against your fingers, or if you rubbed it against someone, you wouldn't cut them. So the way that we do this is I pick up the hair and I'm just slicing through the ends. So you can see when I razor it that it starts to just sit in and it tapers the edges. So what it does is it takes away that hard line from a haircut, and it helps to blend in, especially when you're trying to blend in a really short section with a long section. You'll really take away that cut line, and no matter how much you try and slice it out with a pair of scissors, there's nothing that will beat it like a razor. So let's go through the haircut section by section. And so I'm coming from short to long, so you can already see that it's got that shape in it. That's what we've already cut into it. So we're going to come from that angle, and I'm slicing through the haircut. At the same angle as I want the hair to fall. So I'm coming down this way. So you can start to see that it just softens up that line. And as we get towards the front, I want to be more mindful that the hair around the hairline is lighter. So I'm going to take a little bit less off. And also I want to retain some of the length. But you can just see that that softens up that line. And as we haven't really got the blend just yet, and we've still got that slight undercut, but when I push that forward, there's much more of a blend in there than there would be if I was just cutting that straight in. It takes out a lot of the weight, but retains the length. So that's what we're trying to do here. The thing is that it's the length that's going to help it to lay flat, not necessarily the weight. The weight is actually what's making it bulk up, but the length will help it to lay a particular way. So I'm just taking out that little bit there. And you can see that, you start to get that nice bit of texture. And it's nice and soft, doesn't look too harsh. Okay, so we'll do it on the other side. And like I say, you can see as it's starting to dry at the front, you see how Dave's hair naturally wants to go boing. His hairline comes right into the haircut. So his hairline goes from the front here and comes right in to here, past his natural hairline. So the movement is really, really strong. Well, look, if I did that, that would just naturally want to just sit up. Yeah. So I have to be. This is what I have to be mindful of. I can't just say, well, I'm just going to cut it the same as the other section because that's what I do. I have to cut it as the hair's going to sit. So it's about being mindful of how you treat the hair based on how it's naturally going to sit. So again, we're going to come in at the same angle on the reverse side. Coming in, just taking these little sections off. Just trying to get that little bit of blend in there. Taking the next section. Making sure my sections aren't too big. I could probably do this in just 2 hits, but then I'm not really being able to see what's going on properly. So I've got quite a bit of overhang coming from this side here. So I'm quite happy for it to sit a particular way, but I don't want to see too much of that. So what I'm going to do is going to bring this over and just take a little bit more off the ends. So we have to introduce Michael to Gentlemen and Rogues. So Michael is a dear friend of mine, but also he is a talented hairdresser who's moving into men's barbering and men's styling. And so Michael is now working here with me on the Christchurch Rd shop a couple of days a week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
See, but you see straight away, if you were like, okay, Mahesh, you've done that, it looks great, and then I'm going to go home and just do what I want. You know, I can just comb this back.
Still there.
Yeah.
Still there.
You know, you can push it across to one side, maybe have it slick back. Actually, will sit in a little bit better. There's a little bit more shape to it, and you can just wear it like that if you want. You know, you don't have to worry about it coming forward, and that is why I'm being really mindful about how much I cut off the crown. Because if I cut the crown, because what a lot of people would do is they go, okay, we go really short with the crown and push it coming forward, and then you wouldn't be able to let this sit back on the back. You wouldn't be able to bring it back here and let that just sit.
Can you show me the back?
Yeah, I can. So, you know, you would, I mean, you've got no product in it at the moment, I'll just wet it down, but you can start to see that, you know, you've got a bit more shape to the haircut, you've got a bit of a blend in there, and if you wanted to, you could just wear it over to one side with a bit of parting, slick it back.
Okay.
And it's not really that much different from what you've been wearing, but because I've cut it so it also will come forward, you've got you've got some options in the morning when you get up and you think, do you know what, today is a slick it back, I haven't got time to mess about day, and today is a weekend day, I'm going to just, you know, grab my wife's hairdryer and.
Well, and I probably need to practice a little bit as well.
That weight.
Yeah. And
Off your face slightly.
Gives you a little bit
Really nice.
of shape to the haircut as well, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to fanny around with this too much more. I'm going to let this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of sea salt spray on that, and then I'm going to let that dry in while we do your beard, and then we're just going to see how that organically feels. So we're just going to put a little bit of the sea salt spray. We use the spice citrus one for you today. And
what's the reason for using that over just letting it dry? And
well, if I start to dry it with a hairdryer, you naturally will push a little bit of volume into it.
Yeah.
I'm using sea salt because it's got a slight matte finish to it, and it will help it to dry more naturally. Okay. But if I put product in this and I just sort of scrunched it in and left it, you're not going to get much more volume. It will pretty much be as you see it is. If I do this and get a hairdryer and start to move my fingers around the root, you create volume.
Yeah.
And that's when it gets big.
Okay.
So if you've got a product that you can just spray on, or just sort of work in, scrunch into the hair and leave it, that's best.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
And that suits me. I have a wonky head, so you'll never get it straight.
As long as it doesn't have to technically be straight, but as long as it looks straight. And you were doing what a lot of customers like to do, which is, like, I like to either help, like I'm helping by moving my own head, or I like to look what you're doing whilst you're cutting my hair.
Yeah.
I'm
the helper.
Yeah.
Which is probably not very.
Which is a basic. It's basically the same thing, really. So I'm just gonna mark this out, and then we're gonna shape it in. All right. So I think what I might do is I might just pop a little bit of oil into your beard, and then just give it a little bit of a dry and just pull it out a little bit. Okay. So we'll just pop a little bit of the temple smoke. So what I always recommend is that you put the oil in a damp beard.
Okay.
So when I get out of the shower, I will give mine a little bit of a dry off with a towel, and then I'll put oil in my beard then.
Okay.
Because you're using it as a form of protection against the heat if you're going to dry it with a heater dryer. Good, and that's just helped me it helps me just to spot any areas that need a little bit of extra work. Okay, so we went in with a 1 through here, so That's what I'm going to do on the beard. Just to about the level just before the earlobe. And then start to just push that out. I'm going to go to I'm going to go to a 1.5. And then I'm going to start to come in this way as opposed to up, so I'm not taking off quite as much hair. You're almost using the guard to comb the beard into place, and you'll take off just the ends as opposed to taking too much off. Just going to go in on the corner here by the jaw. As you notice, I come in quite tentatively. I don't want to come straight in and just take it off, because the skin on the face is softer than on the head. So when I come in with a pair of clippers on the head, it's quite firm, there's not much give, but when I come in on the face, it's quite a lot more softness here. So when I push in on the clippers on the face, I'm going to go in probably deeper.
James, brother. Yeah, man. How are you?
And then going to come down.
And every other Saturday, because with the massaging and the children,
creating a little bit of shape. So just freehanding the rest of this beard now. Coming in with a little bit of a point to the beard. That's how Dave prefers it. That's a little bit of the shape to come down, a bit more pointed. Don't want to take too much of that point off, but we don't want him to look like it's just sticking out. I want it to look like it's been created. So we're just moving in a bit at a time. So I'm coming in at the side so I can just see the shape. I'm coming in at this profile here, just looking at this life, seeing if it's really working properly. This line's nice and tidy. Looking at the line on the other side. Coming with the scissors, just checking off the beard. And work the line off the moustache. I can't breathe when I'm doing that bit.
No.
Hold my breath.
Actually, I think I stopped breathing too. when you were doing it.
Everyone stop breathing.
Don't make me laugh.
I think I did anyway, because I went at the end.
So I've just, on the Andis clippers, I've just changed my foil and my heads this week. That's something to be mindful of, because a lot of people they buy them and they use them and they use them and they use them, and they forget that things need replacing and cleaning and tidying. So it's nice just to make sure you keep a check of your equipment. Okay, Dave, how are we looking?
Good, yeah.
So what I've done with the moustache is I've kept a little bit of this length coming into the beard.
Okay.
I've been doing that more and more because it gives you the option later on if you want to start to just flick it out, but it also gives you the option just to wear it down. And what that does is it creates a bit more shape around the mouth, rather than going really short in the moustache to here, and then into like a beard that actually it has much more length in it than the moustache.
Okay.
So it takes away that Amish thing going on. Okay, my friend, we pretty much are done. So, regards to the haircut, we're just now thinking about I would say just have the back and the side, just have the back and the sides done in the next couple of haircuts.
Yep.
Don't worry about the top unless it needs a little bit of weight taken out of it, and we'll just go around the same shape and start to let this top bit grow in, so it starts to blend in with the rest of the haircut, whether you're wearing it forward or coming backwards. And then we can just then taper the beard in each time.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what we've done today. So we just tapered that in so it's the same length either side. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're taking it off the lip, shaping it up, cleaned it up underneath, and just giving you a bit of a new shape to the haircut today. So let's put some glasses on you so you get the overall look.
Oh my goodness, is that what you've done?
Oh my God.
Okay,
Clear and open communication channels.
Yeah, that's
between
nice.
these two.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
So we just, you can see the crown sits better.
Yeah, taking the harshness away.
Taking that, that harshness away from that undercut that you had going on. It doesn't look like an undercut anymore. It just looks like it's naturally just blending in.
Yeah.
And then just took it over to one side a little bit because it's naturally doing that.
Yeah.
I just went with the natural haircut. All right.
Lovely.
Beautiful.
How was your experience?
Emotional.
That's a
Very
Emotional.
You've done a good job there, Mahesh, man.
Thank you.
Yes,
Looks
I.
really, really good.
Thanks for watching this video. Beardbrand has launched a private community called The Alliance. It's for men who are looking to invest in themselves and who are looking to keep on growing. Click the link over there and come join us, or stick around and watch some more awesome videos.